Hey guys, Marissa at kitchentablestamper.com. Friday on Facebook Live, we made this cute little tote for 3x3 note cards. Here's another version, the pine cone version. Oh, cute. This tote is made with the pretty pillow box dies. I was cruising around Pinterest looking for trying to make a decision if I wanted to order the Sending Sunshine stamp set. Just, trying to decide. Sometimes I try to stay away from Pinterest. I try to keep, stay in my own lane and keep to my own ideas. But as I was looking for Sending Sunshine, I ran into this cute little tote. And I don't know the demonstrator's name. Her name is Nancy, but she made this cute little tote and I couldn't help but share with you. I did not love this pillow box. I thought it was too small for anything of consequence, but I was head over heels for the tag and the two labels. I use them all the time. This tote is a game changer for me on this die set. I have said a million times that the pretty pillow box is great because the labels are worth their weight in gold, but now just can't recommend this pretty pillow box any stronger, and it's carrying over into the next catalog, so I get to have a second chance with it for Valentine's Day and spring. I'm so excited. So let me start with some garden green cardstock, and the first thing we're going to do is take a scrap of garden green and we're going to cut 2 of these little half boxes. All right, let me get my Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. This one's already done. We're gonna do our second one. I'm gonna cut a partial cut with the pretty pillow box. We want the scallop segment and this full body segment. We're not concerned with this last segment of the pillow box, so don't worry, you don't have to get that whole piece. Let's give that a crank. And that's what we've got. Set that aside. We're gonna do a partial cut with designer series paper now. We want a little oblong like this to cover the front of our bag. So we're gonna take a scrap of the painted Christmas, line up so that we've got, again, this kind of main segment. We don't need the scallopy part and we don't need the front part, just the center segment of our pillow box. Give that one a crank. And that's what we've got. Let's slide aside the machine. We'll get that back in a minute after we do some stamping. For now, we've got to trim these parts down, these parts, so that they look like these parts. Let's get a paper trimmer and we're going to line up the little score line between these 2 clefts on the track, and then cut away that segment, rotate. Same thing, you can see where the little stitching ends, and there's a score line. You want the score line in the track. Cut away the excess. Now we got 2 of those. And for our bag, same thing. We're just going to cut away the excess of that 3rd panel, line up the little indents and the score line on the track, and cut away the excess. And there are the parts for our magical tote. Let's get the liquid glue, and up here, designer series paper to our 2 tote bag pieces, front and back. I like liquid glue for this because it gives you a little second to slide. You want precision, edge to edge. You want it to match up perfectly. So we'll do this one. Got just a little second to slide, and that's a good thing. And this one. And then we can set them aside to dry a little bit before we put our handles. So cute. Now let's do the base of our bag. This is exciting. Simple little box, but it just really brought this die set and made me appreciate it so much more. Got 4 3/4 by 5 inches garden green cardstock. We're on the 4 3/4 side, and we're going to score at 2 and 2 3/4. Rotate 1/4 turn to the right, score at 3/4. Rotate end over end to the other 5-inch side and score at 3/4. Let's work this with a bone folder, and then we're going to trim it. It's a very basic box. You've seen me do this for other little die cut shapes, where you put the little box in between the two die cut shapes and you get a little tote. Never in a million years thought of using a pretty pillow box this way. So it's not my original idea, but I'm super excited to share it with you. We're going to trim the score lines out and make some little glue tabs here. Just do a little dart. You want to keep it nice and tidy, but debulk a little bit. And same on this side. Now, I'm going to get some tear and tape adhesive and do the long tab and short tab on the same side. So we'll put a couple of strips of tear and tape this way, and then a couple of strips of tear and tape this way. And then same thing over here. Now we can remove all the liner from all 4 tabs. All right, we've got all of our adhesive exposed, and you notice that they're on the same side on both tabs. Let me show you a fun little trick. You're gonna fold up, make your 90-degree corner, and then fold around, seams to the back. Now look at that, no tabs on the inside, no tabs for your treat to get stuck on. Isn't that crazy? Another thing, learn from Nancy. I usually try to stay in my own lane and not watch too much from other demonstrators, but I really lucked out on this one. Isn't that brilliant? So the little tab is sandwiched in between the 2 larger tabs, which means that your treat won't get stuck on anything as you're putting it in the little box. Seams still go to the back. Let's go ahead and bring our front and back of our box back in. Let me show you a trick here. We want to add a little handle, but we want it to be exactly the same place on both sides of our box, right? So we're going to turn them inside. So you got your designer series paper on both sides. I'm going to use a 3/4 inch circle punch. Look at my old 3/4 inch circle punch and a sticky note. And I'm cutting right through that sticky edge. Now, I'm going to put the little dot right on this one where I want my handle to be. Now you can see, is it centered? Is it high enough? Low enough? Is it exactly where you want it? If it's not, you can adjust your little circle marker. Line them both up perfectly. And then slide both pieces into the circle punch. Find that circle, punch. And now you've got 2, and they're an exact match, and they're in exactly the place you expected them to be. Now I want to do this part with liquid glue so we have some room to slide. We're going to add these 2 panels, one to the front and one to the back of the box. So I'm generous with the adhesive, but at this point we can take and line up along the bottom edge. We can slide a little bit up, down, right or left. Get it exactly perfect. Flip. More adhesive. Line up along the bottom of the box. You can slide it right, left. Make sure it lines up perfectly with the other panel. You can stand it up on the table. Make sure that it's level at the bottom. Then we can take a bone folder inside the box. Burnish that adhesive. Flip. Burnish that adhesive and give it a second to dry. But we'll get perfect. It'll line up perfect every time. Got a little edge of that sticky note on there. Let's take that away too. Not just the cutest little tote you ever saw. It's the perfect size for 3x3 note cards. And our little 3x3 envelopes. They fit perfectly. I'll be live on Facebook later this week doing the coordinating note cards for this project. So look, they fit just perfect. And the note cards are a little bit smaller. Even with a little bit of layers on our note cards, we can still fit 3 in there nicely. And I'm gonna layer up my note cards a bit. You'll see. Next up, scrap of real red. And I'm going to punch Label Me Lovely square. I have a white label already die cut using the seasonal labels dies. It's this small one with the scalloped edge from Seasonal Labels. I'm going to have a Holly Jolly Christmas on my tag from the Christmas to Remember stamp set. I've got Evening Evergreen ink. And we're going to stamp that right on the center of our label. Just love that font. Isn't that adorable? You can use a little bit of dimensional adhesive here. I'm going to pop it right on the back center of my label. That gives us room to slide our greenery in between the layers and just line it up right on that swoopy square. Slide this guy in, more dimensionals. I'm going to put 2 right in the center of the label. Pop that on the front of my bag. Let's make sure we got the front because we want the seams to the back. Yep. Adorable. Bring our sample back in for just a minute. We're going to do all of our gorgeous greenery now. This is the Christmas season stamp set. You can bundle it up with the Seasonal Labels dies and save 10%. We're going to get some ink pads and a Stampin' Pierce mat and make some magic. I've got some basic white cardstock and Garden Green, Pear Pizzazz, Real Red, Soft Suede, Evening Evergreen ink, and some small grid paper here. We're going to make our greenery and our holly, and we're going to do the same way. We're going to take the Garden Green for the shadows, stamp off, and then stamp our cardstock. Then Pear Pizzazz for the second layer with the leaves. So we got our Pear Pizzazz, and let's stamp off. And same idea with our greenery sprig, nice fresh green sprig. Garden Green, stamp off lightly, and then stamp the details of our sprig. And then our leafy background. I like to do the light color over the dark color for these leaves. I feel like I have an easier time lining it up, but you practice and see how you like to do it. If you like to do the base with the details over or the details with the base color over the top. There's our sprig. Then I want an Evening Evergreen, kind of this wide sprig. I'll do one of those. We need some berries for our holly. Put that guy here. And then I want a sprig with some berries. A little soft suede. Stamp a sprig. Real Red. We can add the berries right on the end of this little brown sprig. I love it. We get this gorgeous multicolor with all the highlights and shadows. Look like an artist, and all I did was ink and stamp and ink and stamp. Let me get my Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine and the Seasonal Labels dies. We're going to cut these out. We can cut them all in one pass on the machine, which is awesome. I love when you can finish a whole project with just one pass through the die cut machine. We're set up for die cutting with our thin die adapter, platform thin die adapter 3. Let's go ahead and put our little dies to cut these all out. All right, let's give that a crank. And there's all of our little pieces, sprigs and berries. We're gonna adhere all of our sprigs and berries and leaves with a combination of dimensionals and liquid glue. I like the little minis for this. I'm gonna add a couple of minis and a little bit of liquid on the stem. Most cases that's what it'll be, is the dimensionals will be out a little bit. The stem will get some liquid glue. I'm going to slide that right underneath our greeting label here. And be mindful of the bottom of the box. And then our little berry sprig. Add some dimensional there. A little bit of liquid on the stem again. Slide that one in. And then our evergreen. Love this sprig. A little bit dimensional at the end. Flat glue at the sprig. I'm going to cut down our 4 berries to 3 because I think that holly had 3 berry clusters. Little dimensional, little bit of liquid glue. And then for the holly leaves, a little bit of dimensional on each one. Got the smaller holly leaf and the larger one, and then the berries. Now let's tie our tote with some ribbon. Love that this, you could, now if you want to, you could tie the ribbon on just one handle for decorative, and then the notes are easily accessible. But we're just tying it up. You can easily untie to access the notes or the treats. And I think a big loopy bow. What's a present without a big loopy bow at Christmas time, right? So be generous. I'm thinking 14 inches at least here, probably. So we got big ears and long tails. Cut away from the spool. Clean up the other end. And now let's embellish with my favorite Christmas embellishment that's not even a Christmas embellishment. Let's get our garden gems and add a little sparkle. I'm going to take a bigger guy here and 2 little guys. Maybe we'll do a big guy, a little guy, a big guy for a lot of sparkle. And then we'll put a big guy up here and a little guy up here. There we go. Lots of great sparkle, beautiful festive ribbon, cute little host gift or something for everybody at the office. Fill it with a couple of note cards. A gift card fits in here, Ghirardelli squares, tea bags. If you find anything that fits particularly well or is a great idea for this little tote, share. We want to know. You can email me, Marisa, at kitchentablestamper.com with your suggestions of how to fill this tote, or questions about the project. You can shop Stampin' Up 24/7 if you buzz over to marisaalvarez.stampinup.net. And let's see, what else do I want to tell you? There is a Wrap It Up for Christmas class featuring the Painted Christmas. If you haven't seen that yet, you want to buzz over to kitchentablestamper.com/shop and check out Wrap It Up for Christmas. All right, you guys, I hope that this helps you to wrap it up for Christmas and stay festive. Have a holly jolly Christmas. I'll see you in the next video. Bye, guys.